had cornbread forever. Oops. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Today we're making perfectly fluffy, yummy cornbread. It is a gorgeous fall day out today. So I am making some homemade stew and gluten-free, dairy-free cornbread. Dining on a Dime, gluten-free, dairy-free edition on page 86, right there. Oops, I just dumped water on it. Didn't realize that. My cookbooks get well used around here. Okay, so I've got my sugar in here. I am going to put my gluten-free flour. Now, once again, my tip is scoop your gluten-free flour into your measuring cup so that it doesn't pack down. If you just go in and scoop it like this, you're going to pack it too much, and then it won't, then it'll be like a brick because you'll have too much. Weighing it is better, but Americans don't weigh our flours and stuff, which actually, now that I've learned more about it, we probably should be doing that. We would have much better baking results, probably. My gluten-free flour, my just regular cornmeal. Oops. Now, I put all my dry ingredients in first and whip those together, just mix those together so everything gets evenly distributed, and then I put in my dry ingredients. So, get all of my wet ingredients mixed in there. Now, I've got my dairy-free milk here. I prefer rice, soy, flaxseed, or oat milk. Any of those will work. You can use coconut or almond, but I find that they have a slightly sweet taste, so I don't like those quite as well. But if that's all you have, that's fine. And then my shortening. Now guys, I know people have an issue with shortening, and I get it, but really shortening does make your baked goods a lot fluffier. That's why they're so fluffy at the grocery store. Now, butter flavored shortening is super expensive right now. So what I do is use regular shortening, and then I take this butter extract, just butter flavored extract, and add it in there. And that is my butter flavored shortening. Now, you can use a mixer. I probably should. My mixers are being kind of a turd at the moment, so I'm just hand mixing this. You don't have to, but oops, and I forgot, you should melt your shortening. I totally spaced melting my shortening. That'll make it easier to mix. That was my fault. It'll turn out fine, but that was my fault. So melt your shortening. I'm not sure that I've ever made a recipe exactly according to the directions. Dave's just in the background smirking. Okay, I should have got the mixer for this one because I didn't melt my shortening. It's a lot stiffer, but it's okay. I haven't done my arm day today, so this will be my arm day. Right, Dave? Aren't I supposed to, like, move days or something? Okay, there we go. Got it all mixed. My 8x8 pan. Spray it with cooking spray. Now, this particular cooking spray is only vegetable oil. It is not got any flour in it. So watch your cooking sprays. If your cooking spray has flour, just put a paper towel in your shortening, leave it in there, and just run it around your pan to grease your pan. And then you don't have to get a new paper towel every time you go to use your shortening. Okay, then we are going to cook this at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Oh, yum. Now, with gluten-free baking, it doesn't even out a lot, so you kind of want to make the top as even as possible as you can. It's not going to hurt anything, just for the pretty factor, for aesthetics. Okay, now we're going to stick this in the oven. We have a great freebie for you today. Dining on a Dime Cookbook Gluten-free, Dairy-free Edition. Please use the coupon code in the description box to get your free copy today. livingonadime.com. Oh, yummy Ramo. Okay, I'm gonna leave it for about 5 more minutes. Let it finish baking just a bit more. You can see, how did I tell? Because there's just a little bit of moisture on the dough there. Okay, it is all done. Now, normally I would let this cool, but my son has to go to work, so I'm gonna cut a piece. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Yummy goodness. Okay. Now, I have not made homemade cornbread for forever. And I got some of this sorghum molasses when we went to Branson, Missouri. Oh. Doesn't that look delectable, Dave? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Okay, now, sorry, I'm choking on the sorghum. Oh, that's good. It brings me to tears. It's so good. We're going to serve this with stew. My family will eat it because they like my gluten-free stuff just as well as the regular stuff, so I'm not making a special meal for them tonight, but oh man, this is super good. Recipe is in the description below. Hello, today I'm making pumpkin bread. This gluten-free version is super easy to make. Let me show you how to do it. This recipe is in my Dining on a Dime cookbook, gluten-free, dairy-free edition on page 96. Nope, 97. And I will put the link in the description below. Super easy recipe here. We're just going to take our sugar, and our eggs. Oil. I just keep my oil in an old, what do you call this, syrup container. Ooh, can you hear the blue jay? He's making a lot of noise. And then my pumpkin. Now this pumpkin I froze because I had extra. So I'm just scooping it out here because it's just a little bit more than what I need. There we go. And here's a trick for measuring your gluten-free flour. Now, I just use the Walmart all-purpose. You can use any one-for-one gluten-free flour. But here's the little trick. Scoop it into your measuring cup instead of, don't go in because it gets too packed, and then your recipes will be too dense and you'll wonder why you have a brick instead of a nice fluffy instead of a nice fluffy loaf, okay? That's all you do there. And add xanthan gum if you don't have it in your gluten-free flour. And then next we have our baking soda. Right there. And then baking powder. Here's a little tip. See the little ledge there? It's to even it off. Then we have our salt. Oops, and I just put way too much baking powder in there. Oh, which one was the baking powder? Oops. Okay, I think it was this one. Okay, there we go. Dave, I always make mistakes, Dave. Cinnamon. Now, you can just use pumpkin spice if you want, but I don't keep special spices on there. We do have pumpkin spice recipe in this cookbook if you would like, but I just keep all the individual spices and then I don't have to keep buying a whole bunch. And cloves. There we go. And cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg. Forgot the nutmeg. Did I forget the nutmeg? Yeah, I forgot the nutmeg. Okay. And the nutmeg. Alrighty. And then my water. And then nuts and raisins if you would like. So I stir this all together. This is a 1-bowl recipe. You do not need to separate your dry ingredients from your wet ingredients. That's just a waste of bowls. Just always in baking, put your dry ingredients in first and then your wet ingredients. Now, you can use the mixer if you want. This one mixes fairly easily, so I just do it by hand. And can you see how I'm pushing? See, I see a lump and I push it against the side there. That's what I'm doing. And then I can get a really smooth batter. Make sure you get down to the bottom really well. Smash up all those little... All right, there we go. Look at, doesn't that look beautiful? Well, I thought for sure I had some walnuts, but I guess I don't. So, it's all right. We're just gonna have it plain with some honey butter. So, grease our loaf pan. Just like so. And pour it into our loaf pan. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Okay, and then we're going to put it in our 350-degree oven. And we're gonna let that bake for at least an hour. Sometimes it will take up to 75 to 80 minutes. Just depends on your oven, but at least an hour. And in just a minute, I'll show you how to test it to see if it's ready. Okay, so let's test. Nope, it needs a few more minutes. Can you see how it's sticky on there? So that's probably 15-20 more minutes. Now, if your top starts to get too brown, you can just lay a piece of foil over the top and that will keep it from getting too brown. Okay, oh my goodness, that looks so delicious. Okay, now, what you really should do is let this cool. But, you know, Tara, there's always a but. Oops, that was a pencil. Okay, but, so Mike can get to work. Well, maybe I should let it cool. I have a feeling it's going to fall apart. Oh dear. Okay, let me just make sure it's all loose. Okay. Hello? Did I grease my pan? Oh shoot, I can't remember if I greased my pan or not. Oops. I think I didn't grease my pan. Okay. Well, doesn't that look delicious?
It does look delicious.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece here, and this will be my taste test.
Actually, you should put that in and glue it on there.
Yeah, good, actually. Okay, so here's my, ooh, that is burning hot. Okay. Yum. Good old pumpkin bread. It's the best time of year. I'm double. Okay, this is a little tip. If you like cream cheese with your pumpkin, you can get this cream cheese frosting, and it does not have dairy in it. And so all it is cream cheese flavoring. Now you can buy bottles of cream cheese flavoring if you want, but I just get this because I don't use it that often. But this is a way to have the cream cheese flavor without having dairy.
And not at a dairy-free price.
And not at a dairy-free price. Yeah, no kidding. Hello, today I am entering the chili cook-off at school, and we are to take cinnamon rolls. So I am making my gluten-free, dairy-free cinnamon roll muffins from our Dining on a Dime gluten-free, dairy-free edition. It is on page 58 right there. Now, gluten-free cinnamon rolls are kind of hard to make because the dough falls apart really bad. So I did the cinnamon roll muffins because that way you're not having to worry about your dough falling apart all over the place, and you'll just still have the great cinnamon roll taste without the pain in the rear cinnamon roll disintegration. That's what I was trying to think of. Thank you, dear. Okay, so now what we need is our gluten-free flour. Once again, I use the all-purpose Walmart, but you can use any one-for-one flour. Scoop your, well, that didn't do very good. Spoon your flour into your measuring cup. Don't scoop your measuring cup into your flour because you get too much then. Okay. So now, there we go. So 1 and a half. Okay, there we go. Now, add xanthan gum if your one-for-one flour does not have xanthan gum. Mine does, so I'm not adding it. Then I'm adding my salt and my sugar. Oops, I think my measuring cup has a problem there.
Those things that happen at wild parties.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have such a, oh no. Okay, so I'm out of baking powder. So let me show you guys, for those of you who watch my other channel, Living on a Dime, this is how I use my stockpile, okay? I'm out of baking powder. So here's what I do. Ready? Insert music mic. Here we go. Look at my beautiful picture I got for $10. Isn't that pretty? And then we come in. Oh, no. Don't tell me. Oh, thank goodness. So I just use my stockpile. My stockpile is not something that I keep separate from my other food. I just use it all the time. Now, back to the video. Oops. Are you ready?
Video on this channel?
Well, I was thinking about it. I don't know, we'll see. Now we're back. Okay, so now I need 2 teaspoons baking powder. Now, always check the expiration dates on your baking powder, because if it's expired, baking powder does not go but a couple of months past the expiration date. So if it's expired, your baked goods aren't going to rise. Okay. So then what I do is I just stir around my dry ingredients, get those all mixed, get my egg, and my dairy-free milk. If you're not dairy-free, regular milk is fine, but I am. You can use any of the milks: oat, almond, coconut, flax, cashew, any of those are fine. And then I have homemade vanilla. Oh dear. Wow. Oh boy, they're going to be having fun at the cook-off tonight, aren't they?
The chili too.
All right. Now, the next thing you need is butter flavored shortening, but I don't have any butter flavored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use regular shortening and add butter extract flavoring. Butter extract or flavoring. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me melt this in the microwave. Okay, while this is microwaving, shortening is imperative. You can substitute butter or margarine if you want, but they are not going to turn out the same. Shortening gives it the fluffiness that makes all the baked goods in the store taste good. So you can substitute if you want, but the product, but the cinnamon roll muffins are not going to come out the same. All right, well, that's finished melting. I'm going to put in my butter flavor. This bottle lasts me like 3 years. So, okay, that's probably melted enough. So then, got it in, break up my egg. Stir it around. Whoa, sorry about that. Now you can use a mixer if you want. I don't feel like messing up a mixer right now. Just get it all mixed in. Why dirty a mixer if you don't have to? This will just be arm day. Make sure you get it all down in the bottom. Okay. Now, next what we're going to do is we are going to take our dairy-free butter. Now, this is just homemade ghee that I have. And we are going to soften it. It's already actually softened, so I'm good with that. Oh, no. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Okay, now I gotta go back downstairs and get brown sugar. No, I don't. Huh? I have brown sugar in my trusty pantry right there. Oh, thank goodness. I didn't really feel like going back downstairs. Oh, well. See, I just do that instead of the gym, right?
Yeah. Arm day.
Okay. Now, my brown sugar. If your brown sugar is hard, you can put it in the microwave. Cover it with a moist paper towel for 20, 30 seconds. If you're not in a hurry, put a piece of bread in here, close it up, and it will soften your brown sugar for you.
Or watch Mike's video.
Or watch Mike's video. Okay, then my gluten-free flour. Now, this is the topping that we're making now. For this one, it doesn't have to be exact. That's why I'm scooping it out of there. Just approximate is fine. This is just the topping, so it's not going to matter. If I get too much, I guess I should have finished that sentence. Okay, so then, now note, I'm using it in the measuring cup, so I'm not dirtying another pan or bowl. I mean, dirtying another bowl, I guess. I don't believe in using 1,000 different bowls for all this kind of stuff. Just like so. All mixed in. Okay, now there's your topping. Now, what you're supposed to do, according to the recipe, is take and put blops of this in your dough and then put it in your muffin tins. But I want to make sure that every muffin has a little bit of cinnamon roll in it, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them, after I spray them with cooking spray. Okay. By the way, guys, I got this cooking spray at a yard sale for $1 from a restaurant that was closing. So look at different places for your baking stuff. And so I also got these muffin tins from the same place. So what I do is I put a little bit in each cup first. Okay, so now I have a little bit in each cup. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put a little blop of cinnamon roll in, and then the cinnamon, what do you call it, topping in, I guess. Then what happens is the dough will go around it. As it rises, it'll mix in, and you'll have like a little bit of cinnamon roll in each one. Now, like I said, you can drop these in your batter. That's perfectly fine. It's either way, it doesn't really matter. Just since I've written the book, I realized I like this method a little bit better. Okay, then I'm going to take and put just a little bit more in each muffin tin. I need to finish my sentences, don't I? I'm not very good at finishing my sentences. It's because I'm just concentrating so hard to make sure I get all of this yummy goodness. And I'm salivating thinking about all the yummy cinnamon rolls that I don't get to eat. Oh my goodness, how in the world did I manage that? Oh wow. Look at, absolutely perfect for the last one. I have no idea how I managed that. I never usually get it that close. Okay, now this one maybe needs a little bit more. Spread that one. Kind of make them as even as possible. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and just spread them in just a little bit more. Gluten-free baking, it doesn't spread as well as regular baking. So I just go in and make sure it's a little bit more even just because that's what I do. Okay, Now, my oven is at 350 degrees. All right, there we go. Now we're gonna let it bake. Guys, if you love these videos, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. This lets YouTube know you love my videos, and hit the notification bell and click all notifications so you will get all of my recipes when they come out. All right, my cinnamon roll muffins are almost done, so I'm gonna make up the glaze. You've got your powdered sugar. I just rinsed out my measuring cup. And then my little bit of milk and vanilla. Oops, there they are right now. Okay, so we're going to get the glaze done, then I'll get them out of the oven. Now, to make a glaze, you just kind of add just a little bit of milk until it gets to a thin consistency, just like so. Now, if it's too thin, you can add a little bit more powdered sugar. If it's still too thick, just add a little bit more milk. I think that's a little too thin, so I'm just going to add a little bit more, or a lot more. Actually, I meant to add about half of that amount. But we just had a big Halloween party 2 days ago, and now we're having a big dance. It's 2 days later, so I'm not with it. Okay. There. Now we're getting to the consistency I want. That's about the consistency I want. See how that's kind of a thick pudding consistency? That's what you want. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to check the cinnamon roll muffins to see if they're done. Ooh, I think they are. Okay. Yep, comes out clean. Perfect. Now. Okay, now we're going to let these cool for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to glaze them. Okay, ready? Okay, so now we're going to take the glaze and drizzle it on top, just like so. Whoa, whoops. Oh dear. Oh no.
That's mine.
Had an issue. Let's see, would this be a good thumbnail for this one? Maybe. Okay, now see this one that's falling apart? That's going to be my tester.
You know what? If you add more glaze, then it won't be obvious that it's falling apart.
Oh, it won't?
No.
But then I can't test it. Okay, so you can see the cinnamon roll part right there. See the cinnamon roll part? Okay, here we go. Okay. That is delicious. Oh my goodness. Perfection. Today we are making gluten-free chocolate lava cake. To measure your gluten-free flour, you want to spoon it into your measuring cup and then level it off. You don't want it to be too packed, or your gluten-free cakes will be too dense and not fluffy. Got our flour, our baking cocoa. This is not the same as the hot chocolate that you make with the mix. This is baking cocoa. And our sugar and our salt, baking powder. I'm going to whisk that all together. Then we're going to add our shortening or dairy-free butter, dairy-free milk or regular milk if you're not dairy-free, and vanilla. Give that all a really good stir and get it all mixed up. Spray your baking dish. Put in your dough. Then we're going to mix our topping. Together and sprinkle it on top of your batter. Then we're going to pour our hot water on top and put it in the oven and bake at 350 degrees. This recipe is in our Dining on a Dime Cookbook Gluten-free, Dairy-free edition on page 222. Please visit us at livingonadime.com to get your copy today. This recipe is in the description below at livingonadime.com. For this recipe, we're going to need 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of shortening. Now, how I measure shortening is I fill my measuring cup. This is a 2-cup measure. I have 1 1/4 cups of water in here, and I'm going to add shortening until it comes up to 2 cups. That's how I know I have 3/4 cup of shortening. Okay, so now I have my 2 cups. Now I'm going to add my extra 2 tablespoons, and there we are. Then remember, oil and water don't mix, so I just pour out the water and have the shortening left over. And we're pouring our shortening in our bowl. You can use butter flavored shortening if you want, or dairy-free margarine. I am dairy-free, so that's why I'm using dairy-free margarine or shortening. Then we're going to add our sugar. And our vanilla. I have my homemade vanilla here, so I'm just going to measure out my vanilla. And we are going to stir that all together. You can use a mixer if you want, but it comes together really easy with a spoon, so I don't dirty a mixer. Now we are going to add our 3 eggs. One. These eggs must be room temperature. If you go to make your brownies and you forgot to get your eggs room temperature, stick them in a measuring cup with warm tap water for 3 to 5 minutes, and that will warm them up to room temperature. But room temperature does matter in this recipe. Now we're going to add our 1 cup of gluten-free flour. When you are measuring gluten-free flour, scoop it from the bag into your cup. Don't go in and just scoop, because it will pack down too much, and then you will have too much flour and you will have heavy brownies. And And then we're going to have 3/4 cup of baking cocoa, not drinking cocoa. It's not the same thing. When you have baking cocoa, you want to pack it in your measuring cup. So if I'm opening a new one, I just take the foil covering. You can just use your fingers and just press it down. And our salt. We're going to mix this until well combined. Then we're going to add our 3/4 cups of chocolate chips. These are gluten-free and dairy-free chips. I just buy the Nestle's. This is not a sponsored post, but this is the cheapest one that I have found. I just happen to like that brand and it seems to be cheap. Get that mixed in. Then we're going to take our 8x8 pan, spray it with cooking spray. Then we are going to bake in a 350-degree oven. And you will have yummy fudge brownies, gluten-free fudge brownies. My family gobbles these up and they're not even gluten-free. What's your opinion of them, Dave?
Very good.
Very good, huh?
Salivating behind the camera. Excited for the food.
And you get to lick the bowl again. Isn't that great?
Wow.
All right, so how you tell if your gluten-free fudge brownies are done is you take a toothpick and you put it in the side, not in the center, in the side. And when it comes out, you want to have crumbs, but not raw. So you can see right there is still some raw, so I'm going to put it in for 5 more minutes.
And action!
Okay, we're going to test one more time. Perfect. See how there's crumbs, but it's not wet? Now, leave this in the pan to completely cool. It is still going to continue baking just a bit longer in the warm pan, but you don't want to keep baking it in the oven because you'll overbake it and then they'll be dry. So we're going to let these cool and then we are going to cut and enjoy. All right, our brownies are cooled. Now here's a trick to cutting brownies. Use a plastic knife and it cuts smoothly through the brownies. There we go. Oh, yum. Oops, it crumbled just a little bit there. There is your absolutely divine gluten-free, dairy-free brownies. This recipe for gluten-free fudge brownies is in our Dining on a Dime cookbook, gluten-free, dairy-free edition on page 284. You can also get the recipe in the description below on our website. You're actually salivating?
Yes, I'm actually salivating.
Ooh.
Oh, you're gonna put this in, aren't you? Oh.
This recipe is in the description below. Okay, you're gonna take your milk and you're going to take your pumpkin puree right there. I really like pumpkin, so I went a little extra more. Pumpkin spice. Vanilla. This is my homemade vanilla. Sugar. Then you're gonna whiz the whole thing up. Then you're just going to put the lid on and store that in your refrigerator up to a week. Now, you can double this, of course, if you use a lot of it, but this here costs about $1.50 for the full amount versus the same amount that she gets at the store. I believe it's the same amount. She paid almost $4 for that. Please go watch this video next, and we will see you guys next time.